Hello and welcome to a very special installment of the Exiled Prince. I stopped updating this blog a long time ago, as you may have noticed. However, I did not stop playing Kenshi, so I grossly overtook uh, the place in the blog with where I was in the actual playthrough. And I made several attempts to catch up, which were all unsuccessful. It was too daunting to write it all out. I don't know. The posts aren't very long, but even so, it felt like a lot. And so, what I figured I would do is just narrate a little slideshow, like I've been on vacation and I'm making you all watch it. Um, I'm planning to do three of these. I'm going to do one now that's a little bit shorter. Then I'm going to do one that is just a series of portraits of the various team members because we're starting to get a little large, though we will get even larger over the course of this catch up. And then we'll do one much meatier catch up to really slam through. I mean, this one's going to have us building up our base in the region in the game. You're gonna see us explore the Deadlands. We're gonna take a tour of the Empire, free some slaves the boring way, which is to buy their freedom. I hope in the future we'll free them the exciting way. Uh, we got big plans on this one. You'll see us eventually venture into the Cannibal Plains. We'll set up a whole other base in the Leviathan Coast. It's gonna be great. And so, without further ado, let me show you what the Unhive has been up to. Starting here, you've seen this picture in the last blog post. This is just a nice scenic view of Vane, which is the jungle that the Hive live in, and where we've set up our base. Also, this again was in the last blog. You can see, we finished our first house. We're using a very cool hive building mod, so we can make these gross looking hive buildings that are use as much rotten meat as they use building materials. And you can see to either side of it are the kind of outlined shells of the next buildings that we're going to plan. So we've got I think a station house to the left here, and a hive dome to the right. And if you see, what's that in the distance? That little rusted thing. I don't have a cursor that you can see, but that little rusted thing in the distance. Oh, well, I'll tell you what that is in a moment. But first, here's the Unhive squatting in the empty shell of their first house, hoping that the beak things outside don't notice them. You can see we have no furniture. We've simply set up our sleeping bags inside the house for our wounded to rest and recover, while everyone else crouches and hopes that the beak thing that is hanging out outside our door will go away. Now, this beak thing can't actually get in, I don't think, but it would be nice to get out and do some building, do some farming, all sorts of exciting things. Now, Sakri, or his name might have to be changed since, of course, Sakri was named after a senior developer at our company who has now been revealed to be a massive pile of shit. So we'll be renaming him in the future. Not actually, that's a joke about Blizzard, for those of you who don't. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we've seen a ruin in the distance. And so Sakri's going to swim through this gross ocean to see if there's anything good there, and hopefully there aren't any scary robots that will kill him. I had never explored this ruin before, so I genuinely did not know what he would find when he got there. Here's another shot of him arriving. It appears to be a Deadlands-style workshop. You'll actually see more of these. This is a kind of standard building shell for a lot of the ruins that you can loot in this game. Though they're not usually sunk into the water like this. And he's gonna go in and see. Here's a more kind of high up shot of the ruin in this little island. There's nothing else on this island other than this one ruin. So real exciting stuff here. So he's gonna be doing some lock picking and stuff there while the rest of the Unhive begins to build our base. You can see here this is our very first little farm plot. I don't remember what the first thing we planted was. It's probably hemp or wheat, because that's a lot of what we grow in the biome that we're building in. You can see, well, we'll get a close up of it in a second, but you can see some of the buildings in the background. We're gonna be farming some food. We're gonna be making cloth out of the hemp. We'll be making fuel out of the hemp too, though for now the base is going to be powered using wind power. Here you can see our first mine. This is Jafar mining the stone, and Green over there working the stone processor. And we've got our little first makeshift wall up so that the beak things will wander in and murder us. These walls won't really hold up to anything substantial, but it keeps the animals out for the most part. And moving on, you can see here's a rare shot with the UI still in, and I was very impressed because Sakri opened one of these chests and he found a masterwork quality skeleton leg, this is a very good very, very good quality prosthetic limb. And as you can tell, I think Sakri just has one robot arm at the moment, but we're going to be losing some limbs in the future. You can also see, because I've got the UI on, you can see it's currently day 22 in game. So to give a frame of reference about the time passage, all of the blog posts that I made took us up to about day 15 of in-game time that had passed. This catch-up, which is going to be pretty much exclusively the gang chilling in their base and trying to become self-sufficient. This will take them to, I think, maybe day 50. It's a lot. It's several times the amount of in-game time, because a lot of it is me just sitting on double or triple time passage as they build buildings and farm farms, etc. So a lot of in-game time is going to pass over the course of this blog. So you can see it's day down in the bottom right. It's day 22 at the moment. So let's move on. You can see here, since our gate is still being finished, this gorilla has wandered into a couple gorillas. You can see actually in the background by the wind turbines, there's another little white lump. That's another one. Has wandered into our base. And so you see here Sakri and Rumi, and I believe that's Fogman, who's doubled over. And I think that's Ever Given, who is our one of our pack beasts. I believe at the moment we have Ever Given and Ever Laurel. All the pack beasts that I buy on this playthrough, I'm going to be naming after evergreen container ship classes, because of course when we got our first one, the Ever Given was still stuck in the canal, which a time that we all long to return to, of course. So here they are with their polearms. These are these polearm weapons they're using were added by a mod that I have that gives like hive specific designs. You're going to be seeing a lot of the hive armor that the mod adds, because we're going to be building it for all of our guys. You won't be seeing a lot of the hive weapons though, because unlike the armor, it doesn't let you craft them for yourselves, so they very quickly become obsolete because you can make much better quality weapons. Here we've set our base to public, meaning that people can just wander in and hang out. So you see on the left a group of Holy Nation outlaws. These are people who've fled the oppression of the Holy Nation, walking next to a herd of wild Garu. It's great. We're eventually going to become allies with the Holy Nation outlaws. This doesn't really do anything specific because they aren't a major faction, but whenever we run into them in the forest, we're going to give them some money and some food, and that'll gradually make them like us, and then we'll ally with them just so that they don't attack us and throw themselves onto our weapons. What else we got? Here's a nice aerial shot of our base. I had at first simply named the base Unhive, or the Unhive, though I renamed it to Unhive West, because soon in Catch Up Part 2 you'll see us found Unhive North. Maybe we will someday found Unhive East and Unhive South, and maybe even Unhive Central. So that'll be fun and exciting. I get real sucked into the base building of this game. What else we got? Oh, look, a warning. The Shek proving is moving towards the Unhive. This caught me hugely by surprise because we are a whole region away from the Shek Kingdom. But it seems that Kral's Chosen, which is a group of extremist like warriors within the Shek Kingdom, have decided to come make us prove our worth. And I'm sure that'll go great for all of us. Here they are. Here are the Kral's Chosen. You see they've all got big plank swords on their backs. Cool black chain armor. I'm sure this will go great for us. As you can see, they have knocked a hole in our wall. I think this is something that one of my mods, that the Kaizo, the overhaul that I'm using, adds, because in vanilla it's very easy to kind of cheese the gates, to just have one of your characters repairing the gate, and it's very difficult for them to actually breach it. So in this mod, once you do that, they will turn and bash a hole in your actual wall, and now they come pouring into our base, and they're fucking our shit up. You can see Little over here is down. I don't know who that crumpled guy is. It looks like I don't know, I think that's Fick trying to repair the door, but he's down. Ray's trying to hold his own. Fiona's down. Yeah, they're just despite Dr. Chung saying that he's fine, they're really bashing our heads in. Yep, and they leave us all in a pool of our own blood. Everyone is bleeding. However, no one has died, and they're able to bandage themselves up and heal and wait anxiously until the next one, because oh boy, is that going to be a regular occurrence. Here you see our the beginnings of our workshop. We've got fabric looms, leather tanning places. In the back, there's a medical bench where we can make first aid kits and splint kits. You see Hooo Man. I think that's a clothing bench. You're gonna see. I have a screenshot of it in here somewhere. One of the easiest ways to make money at an early base is making bandanas, is taking the cloth that you farm and making bandanas. They have a very high profit to, resources used ratio, is what the internet has told me. And it has proved to be true, because we totally just flood the local shops with bandanas. We just make them give us every last cat that they have. Cat is the currency. To get our bandanas. And I'm not showing it because it's that much. It's not worth taking time up to do this. But during this whole period, we're sending Fiona on errands, usually to the local hive shops to buy supplies. Sometimes she's running out into the Shek Kingdom. She's just going on little outings to get us things that we need before we become fully self-sufficient. Speaking of which, here we go. Here's Fiona out. You can see the hub, which is that shitty starting town in the background. She's being chased by a hive caravan boss who is insisting that he is just trying to sell her quality goods. And she's having none of it. And here she is again in vain. Being chased by a hive general store shopkeeper who is trying to convince her to come buy his wares that are definitely not stolen. And here's one more of that same shopkeeper insisting that his tech is incredibly fly and that she should buy it, but she has better things to do. Here's a nice shot of Rumi, I think Human, and Ray all chilling in my base. There's no real need to build spaces like this. It's not doing anything functionally, but I like to build little leisure areas for the people, little bars and stuff like that for them to hang out in. If you have a character set to do jobs in the base and there's not currently something for them to be doing, they will find an empty seat and take it. So it's very fun to build little seating areas and patios and stuff and have them just on their own go sit down when they're not doing anything. Very nice. And here's this. I was so excited when this happened. So as we were building this base, I wanted to have someone who could make armor and weapons for me. However, takes a while to train the skill, and it's not till the skill is middle to high that you can actually make pretty decent quality weapons and armor. Well, it's two different skills, but they both work the same. And I was sad that none of my team members were Scorchlanders, which is one of the human subraces, because they get a bonus to how fast their smithing skills train. And lo and behold, there was a Holy Nation outlaw bleeding out on the ground from, I think, a beak thing attack. And she's like, hey, I gotta, please help me. And Sakri came over there. She's named Patch, but I'm going to rename her. And you can see she's like, hey, can you please help me? And Sakri is like, hell yeah, get in here, dude. Oh, here's another gorilla attacking us. Did I have a picture of her? Oh, and there she is in the middle bed. This is one of our sleeping areas. And so now I named her Perry. So welcome, Perry, to the team. And everyone's healing up from, I think, the latest proving, because you'll see it a couple more times, but every week, every like in-game week, or every, I think, 4 days, those Shek come back and just absolutely demolish the team, and then we all have to spend a whole day recovering, and then a couple days later they come back and just wreck our shit again. So that's a pretty regular occurrence, is that the Kral's Chosen come and absolutely demolish the Unhive. But and so here they are all resting, and her, you can see, I didn't include a close-up of it, but her legs are all fucked up because she was, as you saw, crawling on the ground. Here's our, we have more farms now. You can see on the left there's some little hemp plants growing. In the middle we've got green fruit, which we'll use to make food. And on the right, it's cotton is what we're growing. Cotton for the fabrics, which we'll use for a huge a variety of crafting purposes. And then in the front here we have little auto wells. These are real useful. They are electronic, and they're electric, and they don't need someone to actually draw water from them. They just automatically pump water into their little water tanks. Very, very handy. And you can see here's Perry at work. This is our smithy. We've got on the left, I think, is the heavy armor smith, and on the right is a weaponsmith. And I think right now in the middle she's just beating metal plates into armor plating, so to raise the skill without making a bunch of useless low quality armor. It's going to be great. She's going to become a master. Here is a hive caravan coming to visit. Which is very nice. We can sell them our bandanas, make lots of money, and then also buy, whatever, some supplies and stuff that we might not be able to craft yet on our own. Oh, hold on, I stopped the thing. So let's boop 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 boop. Well, it wouldn't be our first video without me making some kind of technical blunder, now would it? So let's just catch up to where we were. We were in... Yes. Here's some training. You can see Dr. Chung and Green are here in the front training their basic melee attack skill. And then you can see Fiona working the weight bench and Sakri doing the dexterity training pole. Those last two are not in the base game, but it can be very, very obnoxious to train your strength and dexterity naturally. So there are mods that add a training device to have your people spend time training, and that's real handy if you have people like Fiona, who's going to be using big heavy swords and axes to get her strength up so she can actually start to use those effectively. And here's Fiona sitting in a little bar that I've set up. You can see we've got a kitchen in the back. We'll get a good shot of that later. I've got, again, I think it's a mod that lets you build these tables with clutter on them, make them look like they're being used. We've got little fans because it's hot and muggy. That's not a gameplay thing. I just think it's fun with little lights. You can see there's a water tank peeking over the divider there. Just a nice little grimy jungle bar for our brave heroes. Oh, and here comes another Shek proving squad. You can hear them say that we're not worthy of this place, which I always found a little bit of a strange thing for them to say, given that we're in a jungle that's not even close to their homeland, but that's fine. We needed some kind of a threat since we don't have to pay taxes to the Empire or whatever out here in the jungle. So they're going to come in, and here we go. Here's a really cool action shot of us fighting them. You can see we're starting to wear actual armor that isn't just leather coats we looted off of the gangs in the swamp. You can see up here in the front, I think this is Jafar and Rumi are both wearing leather mercenary armor. Jafar has a hive helmet. This is the very first piece of the hive specific armors that we're going to be equipping a lot of people with. You see Dr. Chung over on the left getting his shit wrecked by Kral's Chosen with a heavy sword. Of course, it does not end well for us, and here we all are lying in our own blood. You can see Evergiven on the left there really not having a good time as Kral's Chosen very sort of matter-of-factly walk out. It's very lucky, I guess, for us that they're only trying to test our worth and not, plunder us, because they don't steal our crops, they don't steal our stuff, they just come and kick our ass, and then they go home. So I guess that's considerate of them. It's much easier to bandage our wounds than it is to, replace all the stuff they might steal. Speaking of crops, here's a really beautiful interior shot of Unhive West. You can see our big wind generators in the back. You can see our various hive houses. The two pointed one is the workshop building, and the farthest away one, that's our bar / dining area. You can see there's a little grain silo in the front. That's where we make our flour for bread. You can see up here in the front we got Little and his crew farming some wheat to make bread for food. We're starting to be able to feed ourselves. I was hoping there'd be more meat available at this location, but the beak things actually don't come our way that often, so there's not all that much meat to be had. We're gonna continue on. Speaking of which, here's Little in his kitchen. You can see right now he's working at the stove, and then you can see to his right is his big bread oven that will be baking bread that he can use to make what is he making? I think he's making food cubes out of vegetables and bread, which is great. What's one of the better food items in the game. And he's a very skilled cook, which he told us up front. We paid extra for a recruit that had good cooking, but of course we didn't have a kitchen, but now we do. So he's doing good work, important work there. You can see here we've just made a repair bed for robots and people with robot limbs. Sometimes when you take damage on robotic body parts, they will have their max health lowered until you can get them to one of these repair beds, and then that will bring their max back to its true full. So now we can do that, and we don't have to just deal with permanent damage to all our robotic limbs. Speaking of robotic limbs, I'm thinking at some point in the future, so way in the future from where we are in the story now, I'm going to turn up some of the fights have gotten too easy when I've gotten to kind of end game level weapons and armor. So I might turn up some of the difficulty. There's some difficulty settings about how fast people bleed and how frequently they lose limbs, and I might turn some of that up to make the combat a little bit more dynamic. Here's a picture. Okay, here's a picture of Perry. I didn't think this was this early in the slideshow, but here she is. Looking cool. She's going to ultimately, she and Dr. Chung are both going to become crossbow users because it's very useful, and I realized that I was relying on just Green to be our crossbowman. Again, don't worry, the next episode's going to be an overview of the team because even I am starting to lose track of who is who at this point. Here's another shot of our very luscious farm, feeding us and giving us cloth and fuel. We're turning the hemp, the cotton's turning into cloth. The hemp is mostly being used for biofuel to power our generators. Very, very handy stuff. Now, what's this? It's the proving. Again, here they come. I have a feeling that we're going to be a little more ready for them. Oh, wait, hold on. It's the Holy Nation outlaws with whom we have not allied yet. They've made a terrible mistake, which is that they are going to try to mug us for our food. You can see that most of them are unarmed and wearing rags, except a couple of them have rusty swords. So I think this is going to go really, really well for them. So here they are demanding our food, and here they are clashing with the Unhive. You can see Fiona pulling back her plank for a swing, and it's only a little bit clipping through her wrist. Secree and whatever, they're swinging their pole arms. The outlaw in the front is unarmed, so he's doing a matrix dodge away from the attack. You can see the rest of them mostly are unarmed or with sticks, and you can also see that the Shek, the Kral's Chosen, are lying on the ground in their blood, and that we have in fact defeated them, which means they will not come back. Once we defeat them, the proving does not come, because we've proven our worth, so they can get the hell out of here. Look at that, we won, baby. And you can also see right there in the middle of the group, you can see Ray is wearing some nice thick metal armor, and that I really should have some kind of pointer, but I don't think this program I'm using is going to let me. But he's wearing the beginnings of the cool hive armor that we're going to have, but the coolest is yet to come for his armor. What else we got? Oh, here's a shot of us bankrupting a caravan boss with bandanas. You can see his inventory is absolutely full of bandanas, and we're going to be buying some food and stuff from him. And you can also see down on the bottom right that we are now on day 43. So it's been over 20 days since we swam to that ruin. So already this episode has been more in-game time than the whole of the blog up until this point. So you can tell why this was a little bit daunting for me to try and write. And as we near the end of our first installment of the catch-up, here is Fiona on one of her errands into the swamp. She was, I don't remember what I sent her for. It was probably some kind of blueprint that the hive bosses wouldn't carry. But so she was on an errand down to Shark, and she met a hive worker named, well, he was named Tuner. We're going to rename him Biff in a second, and you'll see his thick physique. But the thing that's fun about Biff is all the characters that aren't unique with their own unique dialogue, all the generic characters have one of several stock personalities to determine what dialogue they use. So there's, a strong personality, there's a coward personality, and that determines, what stock dialogue they're going to use. And there's one set of dialogue that is the engineer dialogue, and that's, someone who's good at building and good at etc. And then there's a separate one called engineer loves walls. And that is what Biff is. And you can see that he opens the conversation saying that Fiona looks like someone who can appreciate a good wall. And then he says, I'd love to make more walls. Please let me make walls for you. And unfortunately, he says his service is behind a paywall, so he's cost 5,000 cats. And I'm very happy. I need someone to build my walls. We got some cool walls coming up. So that's that. Oh no, I didn't have the best picture. Okay, so when I post this to the blog, I'll post I'll include the picture of when we recruited him, because this is Biff after we've equipped him, but right when we recruited him, I have a fun picture of a fun picture of him just standing next to Fiona, who's very tall, and he's like very short and stocky, and it's hilarious. So I'll include that, but this has already gone on too long, and so until next time, I don't know how I was going to end that. So thanks for watching this if you stuck around.